Welcome to Retro Upgrade. As you can see, I have two packages here. Came in from AliExpress a day ago or so. I wanted to make an unboxing / review video. This is Upscaler. I bought a specific one for upscaling games. It comes with the power supply. Doesn't really say 2 amps at 5 volts. They specified that it needed to be a good quality power supply because it's going to handle video. So any any ripple in the power will show up in the video. So hopefully not. So this looks good. It's one of these thingies you can change out the front. It only came with the EU plug. That's fine. That's what I ordered. So this is called the GBS-Control. This is based on a project with a guy called Rama, I think. He took a generic upscaler for arcade machines. It's meant for, let's see, it's this one right here. So it's meant for upscaling video, so you can use a flat panel instead of a CRT for old arcade machines. The problem is you can't find the CRTs anymore, so they made a chip or a quick PCB to do that. This thing is notorious for slowdown. It has a lot of lag. It barely works. And it's a cheap Chinese thing. It costs like 60 euros. But you can get it for as low as 30 euros in AliExpress. What is this thing? This is a hack update Rama did. He took the board, he modified the board with various different things, and he actually added a ESP32. That's the brain of the thing now. So it takes over the functions of the CPU it has. It doesn't really have a CPU. So, and it can do a lot of fancy stuff, upscaling without lag. It can do filtering. It has multiple inputs and outputs you can choose from. You can see here it has a lot. When you see the homemade version, that is, I'll show it right here. You can see here it looks like it has a VGA port and a component port. That's it. And the outputs are only VGA over here. So you can see you can add HDMI with a dongle like this one over here. They don't add any lag or anything. They're just dumb ADCs as an analog to digital converters. Okay, this also has Wi-Fi, so you can update firmware and change settings with your phone over the network. So it's really good. So let's see what the manual says quickly. Yes, so it says GBS-Control is improved GBS8200. That's the actual PCB for upscaling arcade cabinets, and it's a VGA board normally, and it uses a TrueView 5725 main TV chip to do the upscaling. But with the help of the ESP32, it uses I think 8266 or something. It can do a shit ton of stuff, and it can output everything. It supports up to 1080p from 240p. So all the old video consoles from the 80s and 90s are supported, and also it supports some 480i, 576i. So it also supports interlaced inputs. It takes RGB-S in, RGB in, YPB PVR in, and also SCART, normal RGB. Let's open this up. Doesn't have much. This manual is very tiny. It has a nice board layout. So here's the TV chip. Let's see. Let's put it so you can see it. And this is the main chip. That's the RGB switch. All the inputs, outputs. This is really nice to have, actually. Has some information about menus, layout. So what they did is they took all the mods and made a single board of it. So it's a lot more compact than the homemade version. It's a lot nicer looking. So let's take a look at it. We'll do some setup and then some testing. I'll try to get this out without breaking it. It's well packed. Came with foam underneath in the box. Foam around this thing because this is acrylic. Okay. I'm putting this away, the box. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. This is left and right audio and composite. This is the yellow little one. I don't think it shows up on the video too good because of the oversaturation. You have red, green, blue adjustment. So if the colors are out of whack, you can actually adjust them. You have VGA in. YPBP, this is RGB in. This is practically a SCART cable. And this is YPBPR, so this is component. You also have some extra selectors. Sync on green, that's old systems. Can't really think of one right now that uses that. RGBS is normal RGB plus sync in one of the channels. RGBS is also VGA. It uses the same. I think this uses all sync on green. Power button stays in. These are push buttons that stay in. It has a DC barrel jack. That's what the power supply is for. This one over here. It also has a micro USB. So this, I'm assuming, is for programming. And then we have the outputs. So let's turn this around so we can see better. So you have an audio output, normal jack. You have a Sega Saturn output. So this there are SCART cables out from this. So you get the SCART out. VGA out. And then you have some switches. One is for the HDMI on and off. It actually switches over this to over here or to the HDMI. So it switches over all of the way here. RGB HV, that's horizontal and vertical sync. It has both. That's normally for VGA. And RGBS is for the other one, this one over here. The Saturn output, so you get directly to a SCART. And then lastly you have the HDMI. So this is open air. It's completely open. So this doesn't overheat, what I've heard, at least. And actually, I didn't notice, but it actually has the SCART. So you don't need to convert the RGB. You can just use the SCART directly. There are some screens that use the SCART. Compatibility mode, I really don't know what this does. This is not in the normal version. You also have a spinner here. Probably for the mini menu here. It has a small LCD. And that's pretty much it. You have some information here. Instructions on web page, user. Oh yeah, and it has the standard Wi-Fi name and username and password, so you can log in the first time. You log in to the Wi-Fi it creates, and then you set up your own Wi-Fi so it connects to that instead. And it has a IP address or a domain name, so you can log into. And then it says also that it's a standard set to 480p and stuff like that for compatibility reasons. This looks pretty well built. I like it. I really hope Rama, the creator of this, actually gets a cut or something. But considering this is a Chinese product, maybe they don't credit him at all. I would build the kit Rama made, but it looks too clunky for my taste, and I want this in my gaming setup. And I'm also going to use it with Capture card I have over here. It's a 1080p capture card. It's a 1080p 60 frames per second capture card. So I want to be able to record video for you guys when I test video games and I test consoles I fix. So you get the best quality picture you can. Okay, so let's bring out some consoles and hook this up and see if I can get it set up. We can do the setup right here. I'll bring it over my phone and we can test it out. Shouldn't be too hard. There are instructions on the backside. But I've heard it's a little fiddly to get going, but it's well worth the effort. This is competing with the Framemmeister right here. It's super expensive. It's really good. It doesn't have any lag almost. And then you also have the OSSC. This is an open source upscaler that was made by another creator, and it's based on FPGAs. He did a really good job. He added a lot of functions, but it's also a lot more expensive than this. This was total with import duties and stuff, 69 euros. But because I live in Canarias, I get a refund, so I paid 54 total. But that's not the normal price for everyone, so I'll leave both prices here. This is still really cheap for that, because if you buy all the separate components, you may save 5 euros doing it yourself, and it won't look half as good as this. There are a few people that have built in them in some cases and stuff, and it looks decent, but the overall footprint is a little bigger. Okay, you can see the ESP32 right here and the Wi-Fi antenna. So they actually just soldered on a ESP32 right there. So they still followed ramas instructions. Let's get this powered on first. If you hear something in the background, it's my fan. It's 40 something degrees outside. And it's extremely hot. So barrel jack was over here. So I can't overstate the importance of the clean power, let's say. Okay. Do I get anything? Okay, let's power this on. There's a push button thingy. Oh, power. gbs-c, that looks nice. Resolution. Okay, presets, miscellaneous, current settings. So it has 4 options. Let's see if we can find it on the Wi-Fi. Give me a sec. I'll get the phone. There's the phone. It's a little blurry, but you should be fine. I'll try to angle it so you can see it better. There we go. I don't see the Wi-Fi yet. It should be called, let's see, GBS-C. Oh, there we go. Appeared. GBS-Control. It's called. It's not called GBS-C, like they said. See if you can see this better now. I turned down the saturation. Okay, so password, and the password is 8 Qs. Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q. It's connecting. Getting IP. That's good. I leave it upside down because I want the domain name. I turn off my data traffic just to help it along. Okay, so it's connected. Let's go to the page. I don't have a Wi-Fi module on my main board, on my main computer. I use cables for everything. I have a gigabit. So I want the full speed. Let's see. Where is Google? Oh, right there. Okay. So it's HTTP colon. No. colon slash then GBS-Control. Let's see if this works. It works. Looks really good. It's a nice interface. There are some presets. Let's see, resolutions, 1080p, 1240 by 120, 1280 by 1024, 1280 by 960, 1280 by 720, so that has 720p. Also has 480p for old systems. 15 kilohertz support. That's really good for old monitors. And pass through, so it just spits out what comes in. So okay, that's really good. You can set up presets. Because I know the capture card supports 1080p, so let's go with that. Okay. It's not letting me choose the resolution. Maybe I can do it on the machine. Okay, so let's go over to the settings and set up the Wi-Fi so I can connect to my own Wi-Fi, not this one. You have some brightness controls, auto gain and stuff. Filtering, scan lines. There are some really nice settings here. Here we go, settings. Match presets, full height, upscale, low res upscale, RGB H3. So you have a ton of different settings here. And what's this? Oh, here we go. So we have Wi-Fi and then STA network. Over the air. That's, I think, the updates. You can restart it and do some backups. Not too bad. Okay, so these two are mine. Let's see, this one has best signal. I'll blur this out. Connect. Okay, I got kicked off the network. That means it's rebooting. I'll reconnect to my Wi-Fi at home. I'm connected. Let's try to reload the page. Nothing there still. Still restarting probably. Wonder if this has a reset if you screw up. Maybe in the menus. So, did you reboot? I can't really seem to find it. What IP address did it get? Let's see. 192.168.4.1. Now it should get another one but from the router. So let's turn it off and on again.
One eternity later.
And it works. Save. Okay, so we have the setup tool here. It's on my network, so I should be able to enter and change settings. So let's hook this up to a Nintendo or something, just to check that it works. And I do a few different consoles. I'll show the capture from the capture card. Right there, one of these. It's filthy, it's really dusty here, so the consoles will have some dust on them as well. But don't worry about that. Okay, let's get going. Okay, I'm back. So the original Nintendo only has composite out and one audio jack, so it's mono. You can plug them into each other so you get stereo, semi-stereo. Say it like that. Does work. The picture is super crappy normally. So I'm using these to these. That's the inputs right here for that. I just want to see how well it manages a really low end signal. There are mods for this to make it RGB out. Like, they cost a lot of money because you need a chip. But we can try it out if I can get my hands on one and mod the console. I have a multi-cart inside here from AliExpress. I also have a few originals we can try out. I don't think the quality will change at all with the carts. So let's plug in the yellow and the red. I have the controller right here. This is a mess of cables, but bear with me. The final setup will be a lot cleaner than this, that's for sure. Okay, then I need a HDMI out from here, so I'm going to use HDMI out. We can also try to use this SCART. I have a converter from these to SCART. Okay, so let's go to HDMI on. It is on. I'll go get the HDMI cable. I don't think I have. Oh, I can take the microscope one. There we go. It's what's connected to the Upscaler at the moment anyway. I don't need a microscope for this, so let's go for that. HDMI in. That's a tight fit. Let's look at the connector. Yeah. HDMI in. Resolution. I would gladly want 180p. You can save presets, so that helps. Let's do a split screen so you can see me power this on and see what you see on the screen. Okay, so I have it set up, I think. Let's try this out. Power on the Nintendo. It has the red light on it, right there. This should work as long as I'm not missing a setting. RGBS, sync on green. Compatibility mode on. Don't see anything, so let's go back to the menu. HDMI is on the on position. RGB is set to RGBS, I think. Yes. Voice over Carlos here. So I was faffing around with this a bit. The actual scaler had crashed, so I had to reboot the computer to make it work again. And also, I didn't notice that it says sync and not composite on the yellow input. So this doesn't support composite in, and it sucks, but you need a converter before that to make it work. So I'll skip the Nintendo for now. I've ordered a converter from composite to VGA, so we can use the Nintendo, but that's for future video. Okay, back to the video. Okay, I'm back again. Seems that it was just me being stupid and not reading. The yellow connector is just for sync, nothing else. So composite is out. You can't use composite, so that's a fail. But you can use a composite to VGA adapter like this one. Seems to be what I need. Or a composite to component also exists. That should also work. And usually they also have S-video in to composite. So component, I mean. So that should be the best pairing with this, so you can get all of the consoles in. So then I tried the Nintendo on the TV and it works fine. So it's not a Nintendo. So let's try something else with RGB out. Homemade power brick, 2 leads, one for SNES and one for Sega. This is for the SNES one, and this is for the Sega Genesis one or Sega Mega Drive one. This one has RGB out. I have the RGB cables right here. And you take the stereo output from here, from the front. So you actually get stereo RGB. This, right here. I'll try to clean up the setup here. I'll hook up the HDMI. The GBS-Control is off because it doesn't have any power. Now it should have some power. Let's hook up the video and the audio. Audio cable goes in front. I actually bought the RGB cable and just spliced in audio jack, pretty much, to get stereo out. And this goes to the top. So this, it's a little tight. Okay. Let's hook up the power. See if I can find that free space to put it in. Just this charger. I have a USB 100-watt charger right there. There we go. Okay, so this should turn on. Let's see if we can make this work this time. Okay, I sent the picture from OBS to my screen over here on the right. See if that works. Okay, so I'll push in the cart. It works flawlessly on the TV. I used the HDMI I had on the TV. Turn on the Sega and hope for the best. It switched itself on. Now it worked. So it was just the capture card that's being crashed. This is really, really high quality. It's a little dark, but you had some options on the phone. The scaling or the positioning is a little off. It's to the left somewhat. Let's get the phone and try to get this set up. Let's see if the light is blinking on the web page. That means it's not really reading correctly. Let's reload the page. Ah, that explains a lot. I don't know if it disconnected from the network, maybe? Okay, so let's see if I can do any changes here and it will reflect. So it's set to 1280 by 960. Let's put 1920 by 1080, see if that works. Okay, lost sync. This capture card. Got it again. That looks really good, but it's only the middle. Okay. Was it that way before? Ah, okay. So the scaling depends on, it gives you black borders if you choose another. So it was wider before than it should be. So this is integer scaler. Okay. That looks fine, actually. Too bad I can't really set brightness and stuff on the small controller here, because you don't need to go to the what's it called, to the web page every time to set up something. Reload. So the GBS control is not loaded. I'm on the right Wi-Fi. I am. So it should work. I don't know really what's going on. It's not loading the page, so something's not really right. Let's try this. No local attend. Just no, it's not working. So the GBS control page on the Wi-Fi is not actually loading. Sucks a little bit. DNS problems. NX domain. Okay. So it's not routing it to the correct site. Let's go into the router and check the IP instead. Okay, do I need to reload the router page as well? Yes. Okay. Let's look at the DHCP on the list. Okay, so we have a client list. There is something called Android something. Should be this one. So it's on 410. Okay, so let's go there. Maybe the routing for the GBS control is not working. 192.168.4.110. Same error. No, error, connection refused. Okay. So I'm not sure this is connected to the Wi-Fi. So let's reset the device and try again from 0. Now that the capture card is working over here. So let's turn off the capture card. Okay, we're back. So I found why the picture was completely dark. It's because of these knobs were turned all the way to the right. So you get a dark picture. So let's do this. Max brightness. This looks really nice. The screen tearing you see here is actually from the game. So it looks that way in the Sega, even on the TV, so it's fine. Does seem to cover the entire screen. Let's check the resolution. I usually run 1080 just because the TVs support it better, but of course you get the black bars on the sides. But what can you do? It looks nice. It's really sharp. Sound is really good. I have it lowered just so it doesn't annoy you. This game is really cool, actually. It's like a comic book. You play inside it. Okay, let's see if I can reconnect to GBS control. I'm on its own network again, GBS control. Let's go into the web page, see if the Wi-Fi actually works better from its own AP. But it's a little annoying that I have to reconnect and stuff if I have to do it that way, but it's not working. That's annoying. Okay, so it reconnected to something else. I want Voiceover Carlos here again. Okay, so this is an annoying bug with the GBS-Control solved by AliExpress. The control page, or rather the Wi-Fi module, actually crashes when you use the HDMI. So as soon as you connect the HDMI cable, it disconnects from the router you have. So after a lot of digging and looking through logs and stuff in developer mode, there is a setting in the GBS. You can do some logs and stuff. I found the culprit. If you change the channel from 11 to 6, it starts working flawlessly, so you can reach the page without any issues. This is actually a reported bug in the GitHub page, so it's nothing new. Usually the fix is to move the ESP32 away from the HDMI output, but it's not possible in a PCB. So the only fix is to change the channel, and that works as well. Okay, let's continue. You see the footage here. It looks really nice. Okay, back to the video. So final thoughts on this. It's really good, but it's really fiddly to set up the first time. After it's done and you know the bugs, it's really good. I would recommend buying it if you have a retro gaming setup. Thank you for watching until the end. Have a nice one. Bye.